Are you ready to take your organization to the next level and become a game changer in your industry? Then look no further. Welcome to Yeukai Business Show, where we bring you the world's top business thought leaders to share their secrets to success, from leadership development to finance, marketing, self-development, human resource management, and much, much more. Our guests reveal the strategies, tactics, and mindsets that have made them so successful. So let's dive in and learn from the best in the business. Hello and welcome to the show. My goodness, today you're in for a treat. If you want to know what stops almost 100% of all business owners, well, I say almost because it's not always 100%. What stops almost 100% of all business owners or wannabe business owners from achieving the life they set out to achieve? Well, you're in the right place, because my next guest has discovered that almost 80% of the problems that we business owners face comes down from this one root problem. Now, I know you want to know what that root problem is. Now, stay tuned to discover what stops a lot of people like you and I from truly doing what we want to do. Laura, thank you so much for joining us on the show for the very first time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Incredible. Laura Lohk is a highly accomplished professional who holds a diverse portfolio of roles, including a lawyer, a mentor, a coach, and a consultant. With over 12 years of extensive legal experience, Laura's expertise spans various facets of the field, demonstrating her versatility, adaptability. She strategically pivoted her career, focusing towards personal and professional development recently, and is out there helping business owners like you and me. And I'm excited today because what we're going to be discussing today could be the key to your next part of your journey, where you are going to truly live what you dreamed to create right before. Laura, once again, it's such a joy to have you here on the show. I was reading one of your profile on your website and some of the things that you have accomplished there, and I'm amazed that you are doing so much work. For those who are yet to discover what you've done, Laura, would you give us a very brief introduction to who Laura is and what you're about right now?
So yes, I am a lawyer, but I don't practice law anymore. Now I help business owners to grow or actually become really, really successful, so they can they can have their business, so the business can run, so that they don't have to be constantly in it. So they can actually go and do the things that they want to do, because most business owners, they started their business because they wanted freedom. They wanted to be their own boss. They wanted to have the flexibility and time to do the stuff that really matters to them. But what the experience shows that they're not really doing it in practice. So we are helping them to put all the strategies and roadmaps and together and processes, so they can actually do the things that are really important to them.
Yes, you know what? You described me a few years ago. I remember setting out that I want to be my own boss. I want to schedule my client whenever I want to do. But then reality comes in that you have to learn all these incredible things, like you learn marketing, the sales, managing people, production, the accounting aspect of that. So there's a whole lot of things. On top of that, most importantly, you have to learn to lead yourself. You have to learn about yourself. What are your strengths? And without somebody like you, there's no way I could have done it. I'm still learning how to do this. Let's be honest about that. We need people like Laura all the time to guide us. Laura, you have some amazing case studies of some of the people you've worked with. And before recording this conversation, you were telling me about your recent, client that you helped. Would you share that case study for us?
Yeah, I had a female entrepreneur who was relatively new to the business and very quickly got overwhelmed and constantly worked in her business. So she was the same. She left her previous job and she wanted to have the freedom, spend more time with a young child, and have the money to give the family what she didn't have, and have the freedom to go on holidays and spend very time with them. But very quickly she got overwhelmed. She started spending a lot of the time in her business, hours and hours and hours. That started to affect her well-being, that started to affect her business. So her business stagnated very quickly. She wasn't able to kind of she got stuck. She didn't have any clarity. She was just completely bogged down, so to speak. So we started working together, and one of the things that we understood straight away is that there is this root cause that really holds her back. Yeah. And that was to do with her mindset, the way she saw herself. Things like imposter syndrome came up, and am I actually good enough? Can I do it? What if I fail? These sort of things. And that actually held her back, together with the fact that she just didn't have all her ducks in a row. She was constantly working in her business, constantly on her own. She didn't have processes in place. She didn't have strategies in place. All of that just kept her stuck.
Sounds like disaster to me.
A little bit. It was, but she was so good. She was so ambitious. She was so, energetic with all of the stuff that she wanted to do. She just needed to get through this stuckness. So we started working on it. So firstly, we put a very, very clear plan for her together. Very, very clear action steps that she needed to do. I gave her some guidance as to how to delegate a bit better, because again, she couldn't do everything on her own. And one of the main things that we worked on was her mindset.
Yeah.
And she went on. She told me after the first session that she, just after this one session, was somebody listened to me. I had a sounding board. I got some clarity. I feel so much better. So she saw the return on investment, part of it at least, straight away. And obviously her income, she managed to triple her income in a very, very short period of time, because she started doing, sort of project launches and program launches that tripled her income in matter of months.
Amazing. Love that indeed, because you have just described a lot of our guests and the people who gets to listen to what we are putting out. And we often talk about, if you can get your mindset right, you can get what you believe about yourself right, and get the processes in place, you'll be free to go and engage in other things that you're passionate about. And on top of that, you have a real chance to increase your bottom line, just like you have done for this particular lady. A clear goal set, clear steps to follow, right processes, and understanding how to manage people, which you mentioned on there. The direct result from there is triple their income. And on top of that, I guarantee it, they felt good about themselves in the process. They begin to really live a lifestyle that they truly want. And I'm excited about that. Laura, let's dive deep to talk about, this whole concept of having a good mindset. What stops a lot of people in your researches and also in working with a lot of people? What is the number one mindset that stops people from really going for it? And then we'll talk about what stops them from really, winning.
What really stops people is just the lack of belief in themselves. So imposter syndrome is kind of part of it. But, feeling like I'm not good enough. I hear that a lot. And it's just that there's sort of lack of self-belief, which obviously stems from, long time ago, when as the stories that we've been told about ourselves, our capabilities. But, this is the sort of root cause, and this is the foundation of business owners.
Yeah.
So,
in your experience, Laura, how do you get over this? Because this affects all of us, doesn't it? Whether you it shows in different forms. Whether you are starting a business, whether you've been in business for a long time. People still have that sense of, I'm not good enough for the next stage. How, maybe personally, really, and then talk about, how others are doing it.
I mean, personally, I've obviously gone through all of that myself, and this is something that might keeps coming up. It's not a one-time fix.
Yeah.
You constantly have to self-develop and look after yourself. But what really, if I'm completely honest, what worked for me, the quickest way what worked for me is firstly becoming self-aware that this is the problem, and accepting that actually this is the problem, and this is sometimes really difficult to do, and then just getting help. Because yes, there are books, there are resources, there are YouTube channels, there are podcasts, and all of them are extremely good resources. However, you can have all the tools in the world, but if you don't know how to use them, then they're no use. And often people, struggle to actually apply. They know the theory, like business owners, they often know, the theory, but applying all of that is the problem. So for me, what worked, and I still use them, now I have a team, but when I was working as a one-man band, I had a coach. I also had sometimes therapists that helped me with some other stuff, that if they were business related, that held me back. But I had a business coach. So working with someone who's very, very like-minded, who kind of guides you through, keeps you accountable, as a sounding board, helps you to take away, business owners, they do that all the time. They work in their business, right, more than they work on their business. I was working with someone, I actually was able to take myself out of the business and work on my business with that, sort of bird's eye view with the other person. So that, for me, that was probably the main thing. And obviously now joining a team and having a team, now I have that all in-house. But prior to that, certainly working with someone was a huge success for me.
Yes, indeed. Somebody once said to me, you cannot see a frame for being in the picture. Somebody has to be outside and be showing you all those areas that you may need some assistance. And I 100% believe that. And it's very, it's funny, really. If you look at almost all high achievers in sports, in politics, whatever area they are playing in, they have got a coach. They've got somebody who helps them see what they don't see, the blind spot, what they're good at, and they reinforce that. Because, I don't know about you, but we live in an environment that has got so much negativity that is going on. When you've got the right coach who gets to look at what you're doing and everything that you're working on, they can see area that you're really great at, and they will be able to reinforce that this is an area which comes to you very naturally. Oftentimes, when you've done something so long and you do so well, you can even become unconsciously competent. You're not even aware of that. When somebody comes in, they will point it out to you that this is great. And when they talk about that, you hear it often, your level of self-belief in yourself, that if you can do it, in one area, you might be also able to do it in another area. There's another great saying that I had from T. Harv Eker that says, how you do anything is how you do everything. If you become a master in one area, the chances are you've got the capacity and the ability to become a master in another area. And, having a coach, having somebody to support you. And I know our audience here believes very much so in working with other people in streamlining what you're trying to do and what you're trying to achieve. One of the areas, a lot of people say, okay, I've tried this coaching thing, but it has not worked for me. What would you say to those people?
I would dive in a little bit deeper. What exactly hasn't worked?
Yeah.
Because it sometimes it could be that it wasn't the right fit. Sometimes it could be that the person who's wanted to find a coach wasn't quite clear what coaching is about. What wasn't maybe clear of what they wanted to get out of it. Obviously I always say, initially, I have a conversation with my clients. No sales, nothing. I just want to understand the potential client a bit better. And if it needs to be a right fit for both of us, because it's a collaborative effort. It's not me just telling you, this is what you do, and then go on and do it. It is quite, we need to be very much aligned. So I always say to my clients, it may not be me, and I would never work with someone where it doesn't feel right. It needs to be really right fit for both of us.
Yeah.
But I would really be curious as to what exactly hasn't worked.
Incredible. Love that. Well, Bill, if you are listening, here's how to look for the right coach that works for you based on that. Really spend some time to see if this is the right fit and be very clear what is the outcome you want out of a relationship of that. What is it that you want to work on? Because not all coaches, coaches are not created equal. Some focus on one area and some focus on another. If you are very, very clear on what you want to achieve, you'll be able to communicate it to somebody, and if somebody is able to help you with that, they'll be able to collaborate with you. Like Laura has said here, it's a collaborative effort. They're not going to work magic for you together. You'll be able to do that. So go ahead. If you're writing notes, this is a very, very simple step towards you finding that coach, that person who can help you move that needle or get closer to living the life that you truly want to live when you set out your business or whatever you're trying to do. Laura, let's dive into another area that you help business owners about, who wants to move toward their goals, about the processes, going back to that case study you shared earlier on, that you helped the lady with the processes, the action steps. If somebody listening today, they realize that they are going to work on their mindset, they are in the process of doing that, and they want to move a step further and want to work on their processes, in your opinion, where should they start from?
It's a good question. I'd say from the beginning.
Yes, let's dive in.
Simply because I have worked with business owners who have been in business for 30 years. And when I have a conversation with them and ask sort of their basic foundation questions as to, where do you want to be in 12 months' time? What's a successful outcome? What are your guiding principles? What are your values? They often don't know what to tell me. And the methodology that I use with my clients is it's a very tangible way for me to help them. So there is a program that I use that helps us to map and track exactly where they are with the process. So we kind of start from the beginning to understand where they want to be. Firstly, in 3 years' time, and then we narrow it right down to 12 months' time. So we really start with, where do you want to be in 12 months' time? Imagine if you had the best year, the most successful year you've ever wanted to have. Where would you be in 12 months' time? Because it's actually quite difficult they have all these ideas in their mind, but they haven't put it down on paper. And that means often if they have a team, that they're not aligned with their team because they have all these ideas in their mind, but they haven't communicated well enough with their team. So it could be that, they want to go a certain direction in their mind, but their team goes to completely different directions because there is no alignment. So we really go very much back to the beginning, to where do you want to be, to understand what the guiding principles actually are. Why are they doing it? Why are they doing it? And then we're looking at why are they not there yet? What is holding them back? And we do a very deep dive into the sort of foundation of all of it for them to understand where are they actually going. Because that's a little bit like, and a lot of business owners and just people in general, they do that. It's like they want to achieve something, but they don't quite know what they want to achieve. And I always say this analogy that this is like if you go to your car, you turn the engine on, you say, I want to go somewhere, but I have no idea where I'm going to drive. So they either sit there for a very long time and not going anywhere at all, or they drive around the circles, not actually getting to their destination. So it's really important, just how a human brain works, that it's very important to have that clarity. And only then we're looking at the the people in their business, if they have the finances, the marketing strategies, and any other processes that are happening in their business, and whether that is in place. And we track all of it. Most business owners only track their financials, or that's the main thing that they track. But no one.
Sounds like you're talking about me there, because I track my finances, my bottom line. But other areas, I let my team do that. But I feel like I'm being corrected here, and I love it.
We do a lot, it's a very holistic way to looking at your business, and we track all of that. And then we put the processes together. Initially, we cannot, it's like, I cannot tell the business or help the business with the issues or problems if we haven't really found the root causes. Because often that's what people do. They just treat the symptom.
Yeah.
If we could go to the root cause and really understand what is wonky in their business and fix that. But in order to do that, we need to have the overview of, where are they at the moment? Where do they want to go? And what's stopping them? To understand really where the issues are.
This is incredible, Laura. You're touching on real key issues here. And I truly believe that if business owners today to take this message at heart, it could be the game changer they truly want. You mentioned something very important there, that, well, all of it is incredibly important there, but the thing that jumps at me is, take time to work on your business, really know what you're doing, why you're doing it. All those are fundamental things. And, during a session with individuals like this, how long does this whole process take? So
we start off firstly with, if we can, sort of half a day session to really do a deep dive. Sometimes I spend with business owners the whole day to really understand their business, to do a really, really deep dive, exactly where they are, where they go in, what's wonky, all of this, to put the plan together. And then we start tracking it sort of normally on a monthly basis. Some clients want to work with me sort of more regularly, but more monthly basis, because when we add the strategies into it, there needs to be time for them to go and implement it with themselves and with their team. Yeah. Yet the initial part of it is a deep dive that we need to do. Sometimes, obviously, business owners very busy. So we kind of do it in certain stages, but it's always great if we can spend, take a whole day together with them to do a real deep dive.
Yeah, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Personal experience, story here, it was in 2000 think 2019, just before the pandemic, I did something similar to this. I think I'm due for another exercise because this is an ongoing exercise you should be doing. I remember having to identify that, okay, this used to serve me, this used to make sense or still makes sense, but really my values have shifted, my priorities have shifted, and things that I need to be focusing on have shifted. And from that exercise, we did it in a mastermind group, by the way, where we were sitting with other 12 other people, 11 other people. It was a mastermind of 12 people in there. And that exercise, you know, at the end of it, you become very clear on what you want to do and what are your priorities. And I remember coming out of there thinking, you know what, now I know what I need to do. I've got these great ideas, but it's not yet the right time. So I truly vouch for what you just shared there with our listeners. We're coming toward the end of our time here, Laura, and you're sharing really great information. If you were, having shared everything that you've shared, is there anything that you feel is important for business owners to know in line with what we're talking about?
Things like, I think stuff that are really important that I already mentioned. People go to business because they want to create the freedom for themselves.
Yeah.
And they end up most of the time not doing it. And that's because they only work in their business instead of on their business. And also what senior business owners I've noticed too a lot is that they don't delegate at all. So they think that they can do everything themselves. Mm-hmm. And that obviously means that they don't focus on the really important things that, brings in the business and actually makes a difference at the bottom line. So, I always remind my clients to delegate better. Even though it's often so difficult for them to kind of almost let go because they feel like they're losing control. Actually, they're not in control anyway because their business most of the time controls themselves. Yeah. So, I hear that so often. So just almost like a little reminder to the business owners to just, have a look, do a list of all the things that you have to do during the day, and then really have a look. Is that thing that you're about to do has an absolute necessary impact to your business? Because if it's something like, I had one CEO who booked his own travel arrangements. There was no reason why he had to do that. He had a secretary, he had admin people to help him that. He needed to do and, go and get some clients and various other things that he had to do. There was no need for him to do his own business and his own traveling arrangements. He was just too afraid to let go of all these little things. But that meant that he was overwhelmed, burnt out, worked 24 hours on his business. It affected his well-being and his home life. It's not worth it. Yeah. So it's a little bit of just a reminder for business owners to just let go.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Delegation is the key to personal freedom and also to enjoying life right where you are. Laura, thank you so much for being here. And I know there will be people in our audience today that would love to connect with you, maybe enroll in some of your programs. Where can they find you?
The easiest way to find me is either through LinkedIn. I have a quite unusual last name, so I believe I'm the only Laura Lohk there. So it's very easy to find me, or through my website, which is www.gsfastgrowth.com.
Incredible. We'll also put a link below this audio as well. And we would love for you to connect with Laura if you've got any questions. Look, we always say this, never leave a place of discovering a new principle or discovering something that could work in your business without scheduling when you are going to be implementing your discoveries. I hope you've taken some notes and you have already scheduled when you're going to apply one of the principles, or maybe three of the principles we talked about today. And when they work for you, would love to hear from you. And I'm sure Laura would love to hear from you. So, let us know how you're doing. Remember, we're here for you. And business really is for a collaborative approach. So if you are there and you're doing it all alone, reach out to somebody in our community, to Laura, or where you resonate, you feel like you're connected with others, and don't be an island. Until next time, live well, live with passion. Know that the best is truly yet to come. Goodbye for now. Thank you for tuning in to Yeukai Business Show. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode and have gained valuable insights and inspiration from our amazing guest. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review to help us spread the word. Also, be sure to check out our Leadership Ultimate Success Mastermind program, which is designed to help you and leaders in our community to do great things and support each other along their leadership journey. Until next time, live well, live with passion, know that the best is truly yet to come.